Hi, good afternoon, everyone. Welcome to another ARIS webinar. Today's topic is Crucial Conversations. My name is Marianne Garcia Bowerman. I'm the Associate Director of Programs for the Surgery Residency Program at Emory University and current ARIS President. Other members from the ARIS Executive Committee that have joined us today are, and I'll let them introduce themselves. Taronda.
There we go. I was muted. My bad. I'm Tyronda Rogers. I am the program coordinator here at the University of South Alabama in Mobile, Alabama.
Great. Dana.
Hello, I'm the program administrator at Detroit Medical Center General Surgery Program.
Tracy.
Good afternoon. I'm Tracy Davis. I am the GME administrator at Trinity Health Oakland in Pontiac, Michigan.
Great. Thank you, ladies. We may have others who join in later on. Also joining us today, I'm pretty sure she's probably in the group that just joined in, is Nefertiti Harwell, who's the manager of training, learning, and organization development from Emory University. And our guest speaker is Mr. William O'Neill. William O'Neill is the author of 5 Essentials for Developing Greatness, an enjoyable short story for all ages that discloses 5 life-changing concepts for personal and professional growth. He is also a high impact speaker and trainer with an inspiring message that focuses on the significance of living a life of purpose and achieving greatness through service to others. With his unique blend of wisdom, humor, and enthusiasm, William consistently delivers presentations that are inspirational, informational, and entertaining. His speeches are aimed at stimulating members of his audience to take action to develop their potential and unleash the greatness that is within. I leave you now with Mr. William O'Neill.
Well, good afternoon, everyone. And Marianne, thank you so much for this opportunity. I am so excited to be with you all today. It's truly an honor and a pleasure. And for everyone that's on the call, I want to let you all know that I know something about every single one of you. I see that there are 42 people on this call, and I want to let you all know that this is what I know about each and every one of you, that there is truly greatness within you because you have something to give. Listen, you all, I am, again, as I said, honored to be with you all today. I'm a transplant from Birmingham, Alabama. I relocated to Atlanta about 24 years ago, and I tell everyone, I came because I'm a very good communicator and I'm a very smart man. That's why I live in Atlanta now. And the reason I say that is I married a Georgia peach who wanted to come home. And being the smart communicator I am, I said, yes, dear. So you all can tell I'll be married a long time. I work for Emory University, where I serve as the program manager and a senior training consultant over the Essentials of Leadership program, a program where all of the leaders, individuals that rise through the ranks in their profession, whether they are biochemists or what have you, or police officers that move up in the ranks of our police department at Emory. The leaders come through this program, an 8-month program that I lead, called the Essentials of Leadership. So I have 2 cohorts a year for 8 months, and they overlap. One is graduating, a new one is coming in, but that's what I do. But before I move forward and get into the content as to why we're here, which is Crucial Conversations, one of the key programs or key classes in that program. And I'm excited to introduce it to those that have never heard of it before. But I want to let you all know something about me. And I'm looking at the participant list here. So I can see everyone that's on. And I can see when you make reactions. If you will, find your reactions buttons, because I'm going to ask you all to make some reactions here in just a moment. But I gotta tell you this. My mother-in-law wishes I would stop telling this story, but I gotta let you all know. I'm a former special ed student, academically challenged throughout all of my grammar school years. I used to speak with a lisp, and I'm still a slow reader to this day. Don't feel sorry for me though. I made a leap from being considered special ed to the National Honor Society between the 6th and the 7th grade. I paid my way through college by serving in both Army and Navy reserves. I'm a graduate of the University of Alabama at Birmingham, and I've worked for some great organizations where I've had the privilege of helping to create organizational cultures such as Children's Healthcare of Atlanta and also now Emory University. But this is why I tell you all of this. I can't do boring. I have to have fun. I have whatever I'm a part of has to be engaging. So if you're on this call and you're here to have some fun, if you will throw up the reaction button, the party symbol, if you're here to have some fun, just go up and throw up that party symbol and let's have some fun. You all, this content, I will let you all know, has the ability not only, thank you all, thank you, not only to help you in your career, but to also save your marriage. Okay. It has the ability not only to help you in your career, but to save your marriage. There was one of the leaders that came through one of my programs who took this Crucial Conversations content, and one day at the 1599 building at Emory University, just outside of my office there, he brought his wife and introduced her to me and said, "Hey, babe, I want you to meet this guy. This is William O'Neill. This is the guy that saved our marriage." Because he had gone through the Crucial Conversations class, and it not only revolutionized his leadership, but also his home life. So what I want to do now is walk you all through. I can't show you all of the content because this is intellectual property of the Crucial Learning Organization, but I want to encourage you all to grab some notes. I'm going to do somewhat of a book review because this is based on the best-selling book by the same title, Crucial Conversations. Go ahead and grab your notes, and I will try to leave a little time at the end so that you all can ask questions and fill in any gaps that you all may have. Now, I need to ask my managers of this program, are the participants able to speak and ask questions? Are they able to speak? I can't see their mics. If not, if somebody can read out the chat questions to me when we get to that point, because I would like to be able to respond to any questions.
We'll keep an eye on the chat.
You are so kind for it. Thank you so much, Marianne.
You're welcome.
All righty, you all. So here, let's just start with section number 1. There are 10 sections in this content, and this is literally a 2-day class that I'm going to give you all in less than an hour. And if you grab the notes, you'll be able to use this content in your real world life, and it can help you. So here's what we want to do. We want to start with section 1. Now, is there anyone on the call? You ever had a situation in your life, whether in your personal life or with your team, with those that you are managing, where you kept seeing the same problem over and over and over again? Anybody? Where you were frustrated, whether it's something like how we use our supplies on our team or how we manage budgets. If you've ever had a situation where you kept running into the same issue over and over and over again, that means you're stuck. If you ever had a situation where you had high stakes, opposing opinions, and strong emotions, then you've had a crucial conversation. And it's not if you're going to have a crucial conversation, it's when. And then the question becomes, how will you handle that crucial conversation? Will you blow up or will you clam up? Will you talk it out or will you act it out? And that is the question. So the goal becomes, how do I manage myself and also influence others to join me to talk it out so that we don't act it out? And typically what happens in a crucial conversation is we will go from silence to violence. And we don't realize that there is a middle ground where it is possible. Y'all might want to write this one down. It is possible to be both honest and kind. I'll let that soak in for just a moment. It is possible to be both honest and kind. Sometimes we won't say what we need to say to get results and work together because we don't feel like we can say it. We might blow up or clam up, or we may cause the other person to blow up or clam up. So the goal is, how do I manage through a crucial conversation? You all, I was facilitating this program once, and there was a young lady in my class. And after hearing this content and understanding what it's all about, because it's not about you controlling anyone, and it's not about you doing some kind of psychological gymnastics with the other person. It's not that. It's about you creating safety so that you can have dialogue, so that you together can figure out, how do we get unstuck? And this young lady, she raised her hand in the classroom and she said, I see what's happening. She says, one of us can save both of us. One of us who understands these concepts and understands these principles can create or help to create a safe environment where we can talk through our issue and come up with an agreement that works for all of us or both of us. So, number one, get unstuck. It's all about you looking behind the issue to see what conversation you're either not holding or not holding well. Okay, there's a conversation that we avoid and we're not holding it or not holding it well. Can anybody on the call, and I see now that I can't see your responses. So Marianne, I'm going to depend on you if there's anybody that responds to this question. Is there anybody on the call that can share with us, why is it that sometimes we have a hard time discussing hard things? Is there anybody that can give a response to that? Why do we have a hard time discussing hard things? We're living with an issue and we're not getting to the root of the problem, and we don't seem to be able to talk it out. We fear bringing it up, so we just avoid the conversation. Can anybody tell me, why do we avoid the conversation? Marianne, are you able to see anything in the chat?
Yes, people don't want to be uncomfortable.
True.
We aren't good with conflict,
Yes,
don't want to hurt others' feelings,
yes, yes.
fear of how the other person may react.
Thank you for that, Marianne. All of that is true. All of that is true. And what if I told you that it is possible to be both honest and kind? It is possible to be both candid and respectful. So this crucial conversations helps us to be able to look at that situation and see where we're stuck, and then have the conversation in a safe space, cultivate a safe space so that we can talk it out and not act it out. And watch this, you all. If you don't get to the root, you have to live with the fruit. Did y'all catch that? Ah, that's good. I don't care who you are. Watch this. If you don't get to the root of the problem, if you don't talk about it, that issue is going to repeat over and over and over again. So crucial conversations helps you to be able to get to the root of the problem so that you can agree on how we're going to move forward. So the law of crucial conversations is this: anytime you find yourself stuck, there's likely a crucial conversation that you're avoiding. You're either not holding or not holding well. So in Get Unstuck, we learn how to use the principle of content, pattern, and relationship. We call it CPR. Content. Are we frustrated because of what the individual did or said? That's a content issue. Pattern. It's not the fact that they did or said this. It's the fact that they continue to do or say this. So now it's the pattern of behavior that we want to focus in on and talk to them about. Or maybe it's relationship. We want to talk to them about how what they're doing, not doing is impacting our relationship. Maybe trust is at risk, or you're concerned about their competence level. If this is a teammate that you're doing projects with and they're not at the level of competence that they need to be able to support their responsibility in the project, then you want to talk to them about how to get them up in their competence so that you can move forward. But that can be a hard conversation, but it is possible. It is possible to do this. So, now, in order for you to get unstuck, you got to figure out what conversation you really want to have and then prepare. This is what's happening on the inside of you so that you don't blow up or clam up. Because if not, you might DMX it. Y'all know what I mean? Marianne, see if somebody finishes this for me. Y'all gonna make me. I'll wait. Marianne, see if somebody finishes that. I can't see it.
Lose my mind.
Up
Yep,
in
we had
here,
a lot
up
of
in
people who
here.
wrote it.
Yes, y'all gonna make
Someone
me
said
act a
act a
fool
fool
up
up
in
here.
here. Y'all gonna make me go all out. So we don't want to DMX it, the great DMX, God rest. We don't want to DMX it. We don't want to act a fool, go all out, lose our mind up in here. What we want to do is control ourselves. So we've got to learn to do step number 2, master our stories. Master our stories. This section of content, and let me pause and stick a pin in it and say this. I encourage you all to get a copy of the book. By the time you get the book, all of this is going to really make sense and tie in for you, but you can get it on Amazon. It's called Crucial Conversation. So now, here's what you got to know. Section 2 helps us to understand that we don't gain our emotions from what people do or say. Our emotions come from what we think about what people do or say. So when we see the facts, then after the facts, we tell our story. And after the story, then we gain these emotions that will cause us to act a certain way. So what we want to do is learn to master our stories and cut off unhealthy stories that we're telling ourselves in our head so that, catch this now, this is the important point, so that we can create the emotions that will make us want to go into dialogue or join the other person in dialogue. Now, there's no pixie dust or magic wands that you're going to wave at other people that are going to make them do everything you want them to do. But when you gain influence with that other person by making it safe for them, and understanding and recognizing when safety is an issue or at risk for yourself and for others, then you can change your mindset and begin to think, maybe this is not what's really happening. Here, watch this, you all. Your emotions, again, are a function of your stories, not a function of other people's behaviors. I often tell the story about the kid who had a dog that he really loved, and this dog would walk him to the bus stop, and they lived in a rural area. And then by the time he got off the bus, the dog would be there again to walk home with him. How the dog knew what time it was, I don't know. But now one day, when the kid gets off of the bus, his dog is not there to meet him. And he's a little baffled. And then somebody says, "Hey, where's your dog? I know he always meets you." And he says, "I don't know." And then somebody else says, "I think I saw a dog over on Smith Street that had been hit by a car." The kid begins to bawl and he cries all the way home, thinking that his dog had been hit. And when he gets home, he realizes that his parents had closed the door and the dog couldn't get out of the house. So now, is it true that he cried all the way home? Yes. Is it true that there was something wrong with his dog? No. Your emotions don't care about the facts. Your emotions only care about what story you believe. You believe a story, you get the emotions for free. So we have to cut off unhealthy stories that we are allowing to run in our mind and create new stories that will give us a chance to be a part of the solution and not part of the problem. So that's where we get to section number 3. Now that we understand that you get facts, you tell stories, you get emotions, and you get behavior, Section 3 helps us to understand that there are unhealthy stories that make us feel good about doing bad. It makes us feel good about destroying our own relationships. And these are helpless stories villain stories, and victim stories, and not necessarily in that order. Let's take the victim story first. When we see ourselves as a victim, then we see others as villains. And then we say that we're helpless. We can't do anything but fight them or run away from them because I'm heroic if I fight them and I'm smart if I escape them. And even the people that we love, we can see ourselves as victims to them. We can see them as villains and see ourselves as helpless. You all, my wife and I, we've been married 27 years this year. I think I've got that right. We got married in 97. And I remember we were in a business together where I do this same thing in our business. But while we were in Montego Bay on vacation once, I began to bring up the business. I should have left business in the US. I should not have been talking business. But then she asked me a question about the business that in response to something that I said, and I felt her point. You'll know what I mean by that. I felt the point when she asked the question. So I don't know that she really wanted an answer as much as it was she was trying to make her point, and her point was very well felt. And then I began to raise my voice a little to try to prove my point. And after that, she went silent. So you see how I went to verbal violence, if you will, and she goes to silence. And now there's nothing but fork to plate, clink, clink. And I'm thinking to myself, this is not what the couple on the brochure looked like. You know, they looked like they were having a good time. But I saw what was happening. And that's the beautiful thing about understanding crucial conversations. You can see when it's happening. It's like a train wreck. It looks like it's happening in slow motion. And you have a choice. Am I going to use these principles or am I just going to let it ride? And I was able to catch myself and see what I was doing and reverse course. And we were able to save the rest of our vacation together. But here's the thing, when you see yourself as a victim, then you see them as a villain, and now you've got to attack them again or escape them. So, to get out of the grips of these clever stories that we tell ourselves, what we have to be able to do is ask ourselves, if we see ourselves as a victim, we have to ask ourselves, what was my role in this situation? Another way of saying that is, what is it that I did or didn't do that allowed for us to be here? Okay, so what is my role in that? Can anybody answer the question or drop in the chat? What value or what would you get for asking yourself that question? What is my role in this matter? What do you get for that in the moment?
Bit of self-reflection.
Oh, I love that. Yes, absolutely. Anything else you get in the moment?
Accountability, perspective.
Yes. Oh, thank you. I heard a mic that time. Thank you. Oh, that's Saranda. Thank you. Thank you. Yes, accountability, perspective. And it causes you to come down off of your high horse and realize that, you know what, I played a role in this as well. And when you do that, it softens your heart. Now, let's go to the next one. When you see that other person as a villain, and think about this. You know, when you get married, you say, till death do us part. You know, and after a while, the first 6 months, you say, you know what? Oh, I'm so in love. I could just eat them up. The second 6 months, you wish you would have eaten them because you can't communicate. You know, you get frustrated. Can't stand to hear the sound of their voice. Can't stand to hear them chew their food. You understand what I'm saying? And if you don't learn to communicate, you will see them as a villain. But watch this, you all. Just like you turn them into a villain in your mind, you can turn them back into a human being. And here's the question you've got to ask yourself to turn them back into a human being. Y'all ready for this? Y'all might want to write this one down. Why would a reasonable, rational, decent person do what he or she just did? What could have caused them to do that? Now, here's something I want to let you know. That question is not for them. That question is for you. Can anybody tell me what value do you get for in the moment when you're losing your mind, going all out and acting a fool, what do you get for asking yourself, why would a reasonable, rational, decent person do what they just did? Somebody, what do you get for asking yourself that question in the moment? Any thoughts? And this is where some people will say, well, they're not reasonable, rational, or decent. But that question is not for them. That question is for you. Taronda, what are you
Someone
about to
in
say?
the chat says helps you not take things personally.
Oh, I like that one. Yes, it helps you not take it personally in the moment.
Understanding.
Gain some understanding and maybe some empathy. I love that. One more.
Someone says, how could I have contributed to their behavior?
Yes, yes, yes. How could I have contributed to this situation that we're in? Yes. Why would a reasonable, rational, decent person do something like this? Now, my father, who recently passed away, God rest his soul, was a great man. He was a pastor in Birmingham. He was my pastor growing up. And he would often ask this question. He would say, when you see a person and they're angry and they're frustrated, he'd say, if you know what a person fears, you also know what they need. Oh, that was good, you all. Catch that one, catch that one. If you know what a person fears, you also know what they need. So if you listen long enough, they will tell you what's bothering them. They will tell you their fears. They will tell you what they think about your intent. And then you can self-correct or you can correct. They've got a song playing in their head about you, and it's making them assertive or aggressive towards you or withdraw from you. But once you hear that, you can correct by sharing a new story with them because just like you had a path to action, they had a path to action. They saw some facts that you produce. Then they told themselves a story about what your intent was. And then it gave them emotions or feelings, and then they behaved a certain way. So, what you've got to be willing to do is ask yourself, why would a reasonable, rational, decent person do what they just did? And then you can be empathetic towards them, and it will turn them back into a human being in the moment. I hesitate to tell this story, but I'll tell it. I took a group of youth to a water park once, and there was one young lady who was hanging out with another young lady in the wave pool. One could swim, the other could not. So now in a wave pool, if you're in really deep, when the wave comes, you're going to be in really deep. So the one young lady that couldn't swim, in the moment when the wave came, she had nothing to grab onto, and she jumped onto the head of the young lady that could swim. Now, let me ask this question. Do you all think she was trying to drown that young lady?
No,
Any thoughts? No, I gotta know. Well, what was happening in the moment? What
pure
was happening in the moment?
panic.
Yes, she was panicking. She was panicking, and her panic caused her to treat the other young lady in a way that was not desirable. Think about it. Do you think sometimes in their panic, other people may say things that they regret or that they otherwise wouldn't have said? And the question is, why would a reasonable, rational, decent person do what they just did? And if we can be empathetic for a moment, we can cause that other person to get to a point where they are safe enough with us to share what fear they had and what triggered them to do that. And then they might even ask for forgiveness. And here's the question. If in their fear and their panic, they do something, say something, that they regret. Any of us ever did that? You don't have to raise your hand. And they should ask us to forgive them. They apologize when they're no longer under that adrenaline. Do we forgive them? Question. Should we? I'd love to hear your thoughts. Uh-oh, you all were slow on that one. So if somebody, if your spouse, you say something to your, let me flip it. Let me flip it. If you in your panic say something that you wish you could get back. Well, let me ask this question. Is there anybody on the call that's ever said something you wish you could take back?
Yes.
Ever
Yes,
said, okay, okay, there we go. So
sure.
here's the, yes, yes. So here's the thing. We judge ourselves by our intent and we judge others by their action. But if we can turn that thing around and say, what could have caused a reasonable, rational, decent person to do something like that, then we could probably be a little bit more empathetic towards the situation. And if we really care and really want to resolve the issue, then we can allow that situation to work out. Did I see a mic? Somebody was about to ask something.
Yes, Julie makes a good point. She said, forgive if you ever want to be forgiven.
Oh, Julie, you're about to preach a sermon right there. Thank you for that. Thank you for that. And we've got to be willing to, if we really want the relationship to work and we want to move forward, then we've got to allow that to work. Now, the last thing, and I don't want to get stuck on this one because each one of these sections may go anywhere between 40 and 60 minutes. So I'll move on, but I encourage you all to take the class if you can ever get it. The last one is helpless. How do I get out of the helpless story? And to get out of the helpless story in our head, we've got to ask ourselves, what should I do right now to move towards what I really want? Do I really want to punish the other person or do I want to resolve the issue? Do I want to get even with them or do I want to work this issue out? You got to resolve what you really want because if you don't know what you really want, any road will get you there. So you've got to be willing to say, what should I do right now to move towards what I really want? One of my inspirations in the speaking world is a gentleman by the name of Les Brown. I don't know if any of you all have ever heard of Les, but I've had the privilege of meeting him and sitting under some of his training. And Les would often say, in a room with 100 people in this room, if you ask those 100 people, how many of you all want to be successful in life? How many hands do you all think will be raised? I'd love to hear a few thoughts. How many hands do you think would be raised in that room?
All
All of
what?
them.
All hands would, every single one of them. But let me rephrase the question. And Les would say this. He says, if you rephrase the question this way, how many of you all have identified the goals for your life that will be your marker of success? If you ask a question like that, how many hands do you think will be raised in a room of 100 people? That same room.
Maybe 25.
Oh,
Half.
that's pretty spot on. 10 to 20 hands. 10 to 20. So only 10 to 20 people in a room of 100 people have identified what success looks like for them. And this is what you have to be willing to do during a crucial conversation is identify what does success look like? Does success look like getting even or punishing that person? Or does success look like creating a safe environment so that we can dialogue about this issue so that we can resolve the challenge that we have before us? And if you get to the root, you don't have to live with the fruit. You can cultivate what you really, really want. Which takes us to thank you all so much for your engagement. Even though I can't see everybody's mic or hear from everybody, I appreciate you all being there and still engaging and having fun. So then this helps us to move. Keep in mind, we've not opened our mouths between 1 and 3. We've not opened our mouths yet. All of this is happening inside of us. Okay. So now in section 4, we're about to open our mouths and we're about to state our path in just a moment to the other person. But before we state our path, we've got to start with heart. And I must say that I've been in the human resources world for over 30 years. And I was going to pass on crucial conversations initially, but this was the first class in corporate America that I had ever come across that said, start with your own heart first. And to start with your heart means you've got to ask yourself, what do I really want for myself, for my loved one, for my team members, for my business partner, for my colleagues, for my superior, or for my person that serves with me, that person that is my associate that works with me. What do I want? And if I want to punish, then that's a bad objective. But if I want to resolve the issue so that we can move forward together. So the healthy goals would be to learn something, to build a relationship, to find a win for everybody involved. These are healthy thoughts and healthy intents. But if your intent is to punish or to get even, then you will have these clashes and you may never get to the resolve. So you've got to ask yourself, what do I really want? This is starting with heart. And then you've got to clarify, what is your good intent? So even if someone else made a mistake or frustrated you, you can clarify your good intent, and then you have to share your good intent with them. Say if you've got somebody that is working with you and they are making an error, but they don't see it as a big deal. You can come back and you can say to them, in preparing your good intent, can I talk to you about something? My goal is not to beat up on you or to tell you you're not doing a good job. I appreciate working with you. But what I do want to do right now is talk to you about how we work together and see if we can come up with something that works for us. Can we do that? And now you're sharing your good intent because initially they might seize up when you start telling them that they're not doing something well. I mean, it's natural to have that moment of seizing up or wondering, what's the worst possible way I can take this. But when you share your good intent up front, it makes it less likely for them to have these negative stories. So you're trying to create a safe environment because you got to deal with the issue. I pause so that you can hear that. You got to deal with the issue to get to the root. Here's an example that I heard about when uh, the authors of this content presented this to our team. They said that there was a doctor in this health system that no one wanted to speak up to. He was a surgeon and he was pretty abrasive and type A, and he would, speak his mind, and he would as he would ask for instruments in the surgical and during surgery, he would be kind of rough around the edges, if you will. And there was a day when someone was wheeled into the OR. Now, again, I learned this from the authors of this content. And there were no less than three people on his team who were thinking to themselves, he might be about to do a wrong site surgery. But they didn't speak up because they didn't know that they could be honest and kind. They didn't speak up. And the young lady that was being operated on, I hear, woke up with uneven lumps in her bed sheet as one of her legs had been amputated, and that's not what she was there for. But if you realize that you can be both honest and kind, and you can make people above you feel safe as well. We call this at Emory, manage up. You can manage up because people that feel safe with you will use their power with and for you. People that are above you that feel unsafe will use their power, as Joseph often says, one of the authors, to shut you down. So you want to make the person above you feel safe and let them know your good intent. I don't want you to think that I'm questioning your ability here. I'm not. I just noticed in the chart that it looks like this patient is here for this, but there might be some confusion. Do you think you might want to check this before you move forward with the surgery? I'm sure that that leader would have appreciated this. You all, and this is free. I want to give you all this one for free. Leaders that you offer value, and this is why I say that there's greatness within you because you have something to give. Those above you, they hold on to power. Imagine this. If I ask each one of you all to pull out $100, okay? Imagine that you've got $100 in your hand. But then I pulled out something from my pocket, but I closed my hand and I don't allow you to see the value of what's in my hand. And I tell you, I will trade you what's in my hand for your $100? How many of you all would trade with me? Quickly in the chat. How many of you all would trade with me?
Someone said no, nope.
I figured that might be the answer.
Nope, a lot of
Why?
those. No,
Why
thanks.
not? Why wouldn't you trade with me? Thoughts? Why not? Any thoughts, Marianne, as to why they wouldn't want to trade with me?
Uncertainty.
Uncertainty. There we go. So thank you for that. So now watch this. If I showed you that, go ahead, Marianne.
I'm sorry, someone said in the chat, I don't make enough money for that risk, LOL.
I understand. I understand. Now, what if I opened my hand and I showed you what I had in my hand and you understood, and it is true that what's in my hand far exceeds the value of $100? Wouldn't it be more likely that you would trade with me? And that is the case. When you are subordinate to someone that's more powerful than you, when you can show them the value of your idea, let me show you all how to get promoted. And I know what I'm talking about. The Emory University, they brought me to Emory. They came after me. I didn't have to go after Emory. Emory came after me twice. The third time they told me that my children could go to Emory for free if I stayed with them for 10 years. I got 2 Emory graduates now. Children's Healthcare of Atlanta, when I worked there, they created a position for me. If you go on my LinkedIn page, you'll find that I was System Engagement Liaison. They paid me very well and made up a title for me for all of the value that I contributed to the organization. So here, this is free, you all. When you find ways to improve morale, productivity, and profit wherever you go, they'll make up a position for you. The doors open for you where there were no doors. So you've got to be willing to even help the people above you perceive the value. So when you are starting with heart, it is your way of showing your good intent, understanding first what your real intent is, and then showing your good intent. So ask yourself, what do I want for our relationship, for this situation, for the organization, and then share your good intent. And now you're ready to move forward. So now, section 5, and I see the time is getting away from us. Section 5 is about you stating your path. And in order to state your path to the other person, when they say, okay, I want to hear what you got to say, then what you'll do is you'll start with the facts. Don't start with your story. Start with the facts. Then, or what you saw and heard from that person. Then tell your story. Tell them, as a result of what I saw, I'm starting to think that this is the case. I could be wrong. Then you ask for their path. You say something like, can you help me understand how you saw this happening or how you see this playing out? Okay, so let me give you that again. Start with the facts, state the facts first. Then tell your story, what you're starting to think. But don't tell your story as if it's a fact. Tell your story as if it's the story that you're starting to believe. And then ask for their perspective. Why do you want to ask for their perspective after you stated the facts, told how you see it? Why would you ask for their perspective? Any thoughts?
To get their point of view.
To get their point of view. Thank you so much for that. And that's being humble in the sense that you realize that there is a possibility that you're not seeing it the way it happened. You could be wrong. Anybody on the call know that you can be loud and wrong? You can be sincere and sincerely wrong at the same time. But when you create dialogue, then we all come onto the same page. We sync with one another and we work through that issue together. All right, for the sake of time, I'm going to move on to make it safe. Even after you've done 1 through 5, that other person might still be a little bit on edge and withdrawing or loud in verbal violence. So what you want to do is make it safe when you see that they're feeling unsafe. And these are the only, catch this note right here, you all. These are the only 2 reasons people feel unsafe. One, they feel like you don't respect them. And this is why they might feel unsafe with you. mutual respect. And two is mutual purpose. They feel like that you are trying to undermine their goals or their desires, something they want to achieve. So if you see either one of these, or they see either one of these from you, or perceive or tell themselves a story, you tell yourself a story about them that they don't respect you or they don't care about your purpose, then there is no safety in the room. We don't get to dialogue. So then what you have to be able to do when you see that they're unsafe, listen long enough to hear what's making them feel unsafe. If they feel like you don't care about them or you're trying to undermine them, then you can, here's how what you have to do in that moment. You have to make a contrasting statement. If you all will take a note, say contrasting statement. And in a contrasting statement, you say what you did not intend first. Then you tell what you did intend second, and you don't put a but in between the two. What happens when you put a but in between the two? When you say, I don't want you to think that I was trying to say that you don't do a good job, but what's the problem with putting that but in there? Any thoughts?
Everything before it sounds untrue.
Oh, that was good. That was a
That
whole,
was in the
as
chat.
my sister-in-law would say, that was a whole bunch of good. Marianne, you were about to say something else. What were you about to say?
No, I just said that that was what was in the chat. Mhm.
Oh, thank you so much for that. So you don't want to negate what's before. It's not that you can never use the word but or a conjunction again. In those moments of high emotion, you want to bring it down by letting them know what your intent was not. I don't want you to think that I was trying to say you don't do a good job. That's not what I'm trying to say. I was just trying to say that I have some concern about the vendors that you're using because they've let me down before in the past. And I just thought that might be something you want to consider. Marianne.
Someone in the chat said it's like stating that you're right anyway.
Ooh, that part too. Thank you so much for that. Thank you. Thank you. So, in order to make it safe, when you hear why a person is feeling safe, then you can make a contrasting statement and say, I don't want you to think I don't respect you. I respect you highly. I just want you to know that I have some concerns about this. Can we talk about it? And the other reason people might feel unsafe with you is they think you don't care about their goals. Oh, you can say a contrasting statement there again. I don't want you to think I don't care about your goals. I do. I just want to see how we can make that happen and achieve this goal. Can we work through something or can we talk it out so that we can figure out how to make this happen? And now it changes the atmosphere in the room and we can talk about that tough subject that will empower us to together work through what we want. Now, then you've got to learn to look. This is a tool. You've got to be on guard and notice what it looks like when that other person is feeling unsafe. And then notice when you're feeling unsafe. Um, can somebody tell me, and let's do this quickly because I see that time is getting away. What are some things you notice when you're under stress? The conversation just turned crucial. How do you feel, or what are some things you notice in your body or behaviors you notice from yourself or others? Let's just go ahead and do it all together. You notice from yourself or others.
Tension.
Tension, yes. Oh, I get that little feeling in the pit of my stomach. Yes. Anybody else?
Um,
10.
said frustration.
Frustration, the feeling of having no control. They're out of control, and that happens with young adult kids that are spending your money and they're still not fully grown, if you will. Yeah, all that kind of tension. Yes.
I
What
Heart
get
else?
racing.
emotional.
Oh,
Oh, give me another one.
I get emotional.
Emotional, yes. I heard
Sharon
someone
said
else.
heart racing.
Heart racing, yes, yes,
Sarah,
yes. Go ahead.
Sarah said anxious
Anxious, yes, yes, yes.
and
Because that adrenaline begins to run through your body. And in that moment, it makes you act a certain way. One young lady told me she breaks out in hives from the bottom of her chin to the top of her chest when she's under that kind of pressure. So when you notice that the other person is not feeling safe, then you want to use these tools of make it safe by you contrasting. And then there's another tool that comes up next. Um, Seek mutual purpose. If you don't have mutual purpose, then you want to create mutual purpose by figuring out what does that other person want and what do you want, and see if you can put your goals together to build something that we want. For example, my wife and I, we were looking for a new home and our new house, and we made it a home. But we were looking for houses that we liked, and there were certain things that she liked, there were certain things that I liked, but unless I wanted to live by myself and she go over there or vice versa, then we had to come up with a third option. We are able to figure out what is it that we want. And if we can't find that, here's the thing, you can build it. You can have it designed and build it. So that's what seeking mutual purpose is about, because you'll never have safety if you don't feel like you care about each other's purposes. So I've got to move on. The next one is to explore others' paths, to explore that other person's path. You ever had a person that they go to silence and it doesn't matter what you say, it doesn't seem like they're going to give you anything, but you know something is wrong? And they say things like, don't worry about me, I'm good. I'm fine. I am fine. Does that mean they're fine? No, they're not fine. What you have to be willing to do now is make it safe for them. You got to amp. This is what they call the amp skills. Please write this down. The A stands for you got to ask them, you know, can you tell me what's bothering you? And they say, no, I'm fine. Okay. Then you got to mirror. Okay. You've got to say, you say that you're fine, but from the sound of your voice and from your changed behavior, it looks like something is going on. So now you're saying, I see you. You're not hiding. I see you and I care. Then you've got to paraphrase. That's P. Paraphrase. If they give you a little something, you can put it in your own words and say, so are you saying that you got frustrated when I didn't back you up in that meeting? Okay. And they say, yeah, because this, and then sometimes you got to prime. Prime means this is the last P. So it's AMPP. The last P is you got to prime. So paraphrase and then prime. Prime mean that even if they don't give you anything, you got to take your best guess at what they might be frustrated about. I remember once my son and I were traveling together, and our kids and together with my wife and I, we've been traveling together for years. So now my children are grown. My oldest is 26, my baby is 24 this year. But my son and I were traveling, and when you go through TSA, occasionally they might pull your luggage over. I'm sure you all have had that happen before. And they pulled my son's luggage over, and I got involved. And I didn't realize that was a problem for him until we got to our gate, and he's quiet and not talking to me. Whereas we had just been in the Uber and coming through security, we had been having a good time, but now he's all checked out. So I'm trying to figure out what's going on. And then I was able to go back in my mind and remember the last time we were cool, if you will, and we were okay. And it was at TSA. And then I was able to just prime and say, when they pull your bag over and I came and tried to handle it, did I frustrate you? Was that something you wanted to handle yourself? So you see how I totally said it. He never said it because maybe he didn't think it was safe to say this to dad, get out my business. But when I made it safe for him to answer yes, then we were able to talk it out, and then he was able to go and just, I remember I think he went to the bathroom, collected himself, came back, and we were normal again. So sometimes you've got to use your amp skills to get people to either calm down, and you don't want to say calm down. You want to put their facts and feelings together in a statement, because if you tell them calm down, it might go the other way. But you want to give them a reason to calm down by amping or empathizing with them. And this whole program is empathy on steroids. As Stephen Covey would say, seek first to understand, then to be understood. And then together you can decide what you want. And the last one, and my time is gone, is move to action. You want to agree on who's going to do what by when. You had all of this safe conversation and you came up with a plan, but if you don't agree who's going to do what by when and how are we going to follow up to make sure that our plan is working together, then you just wasted a conversation and don't move to action. So you've got to agree on what you're going to do to move this thing forward, because change is hard. And sometimes we'll just go back to our old ways, and we want to hold one another accountable for making the edit and making the change. So, you all, that is Crucial Conversations in a nutshell. I think we have about 4 minutes, and I'll try to talk fast. If anybody has any holes in the content or any questions for me, I'm going to mute myself for just a moment to take any questions you all might have. What questions can I answer for you all? You all can go back in your notes.
Nina is has a comment that forgiveness is not for the other person. Forgiveness is for you.
True.
So you can move forward in your life. Holding on to negativity keeps you from moving forward.
Oh, that'll preach on a Sunday morning. Thank you for that. Anybody else?
Oh, I think they're taking it all in, Mr. O'Neill.
All right. Well, if there be no other questions, I want to remind you all that there's greatness within you because you have something to give. So I want to encourage you to continue to share your greatness with the world. And then also remember to take good care of yourself. From time to time, when I do this kind of work with leaders, before I leave the leader's office, I'll ask, so how are you doing? And the leader will start crying in many cases because they'll say it's about time somebody asked about me. I want to encourage you, take your vacation, be good to yourself, and sometimes you got to just take the Calgon bath. Can anybody remember that one, Calgon?
Take me away.
Me
I
away.
knew somebody would know it. Take good care of yourself. Don your mask first, as the flight attendant says, so that you'll be in position to be able to be helpful to others. Well, that's
Thank
my
you so
time.
much, Mr. O'Neill. It was
It's been my
amazing as
pleasure.
always.
It's been a pleasure. Have a great one, everybody. And if you look for me, you can find me either at Emory or online at williamoneal.com, Oneal. Have a great one, everybody.
Great. Thank you so much.
My
Take care,
pleasure.
everyone.